Today, we're going to talk about cancer, but maybe not in the way you're used to thinking about it. We're going to look at it as a story, a really complex drama that unfolds inside our own bodies, written in the language of our very own cells.
You've heard this before, right? It sounds like a line from a movie, but it's a real-life puzzle. We all know someone, or have heard of someone, who did everything right, lived a super healthy life, and still got sick.
So yeah, how is that possible? And what about the other side of the coin? The person who smokes and drinks their whole life and seems perfectly fine. It feels like a total paradox. And to understand it, we've got to go right to the source. Okay, so let's start right there with this cancer paradox. Why does it all seem so random? Well, as we're about to find out, the answer is anything but.
To really get to the bottom of this whole mystery, we have to shrink ourselves down. I mean, way, way down to the microscopic level. Because the entire story of cancer, from start to finish, is really just a story about our cells. So let's take a look at the absolutely incredible, bustling universe that is happening inside you at this very moment. It's this constant story of creation, destruction, and, you guessed it, renewal. Just look at this number, 36 trillion. That is the best guess for how many cells are in the average adult body. It's a completely astronomical figure, and every single one of those cells is like a tiny, living machine with a very specific job to do. Now, here's where it gets really wild. Your body isn't some static thing. It's constantly rebuilding itself. Every single day, about 330 times billion of your cells get replaced. That's almost 1% of your entire body every 24 hours. You know that saying, you're not the same person you were yesterday? It is literally true.
So who are the heroes behind all this constant reconstruction? They're called stem cells. You can think of them as your body's master builders. They have this amazing ability to turn into all different kinds of cells. Blood, skin, muscle, you name it. They are absolutely crucial for fixing damage and just keeping the whole operation running.
And this just shows you how dynamic we really are. I mean, the lining of your intestines, it's brand new every week. Your skin, totally replaced every single month. Even your fat cells get swapped out over about a decade. Our bodies are in this constant, incredible state of self-repair. Now, this system is amazing for sure, but it is also incredibly complex. And with billions of new cells being made every single day, well, that's billions of opportunities for things to go wrong. And this is where the story can take a very dangerous turn.
So what happens when the instruction manual inside a cell, its DNA, gets a typo? This is what we call a mutation. And it's at this exact moment that the story of a healthy cell can begin to change. So on the left, you've got your normal, healthy cell. It's a team player, right? It follows the rules, it stops growing when it's told to, and if it gets too damaged, it basically takes one for the team and self-destructs. But a cancer cell, over on the right, it's a total rebel. It ignores all the signals, it grows like crazy, and it starts invading its neighbor's space.
Thankfully, our bodies are built for this. We have this amazing internal security system. Think of it this way. You've got security guard genes that patrol around looking for DNA damage to repair. You've got filter genes that tell any cells that are too damaged to, well, die. And you've got mechanic genes that double-check and fix any errors that happen when cells are copying themselves.
And this is the crucial point. Cancer doesn't just happen because one cell goes rogue. It happens when the very defense systems that are designed to stop those rogue cells get damaged and fail themselves. Sometimes, yeah, the blueprint for those defenses is a bit flawed from birth. That's an inherited risk. But more often, the damage adds up over a lifetime. When your security guards and your mechanics are off the job, that's when chaos can really take over. But you know, that is not the end of the story, because when our internal defenses fail, we have external ones. This next part is about science, of course, but it's also a story of incredible human connection and hope.
So one of the most common treatments is chemotherapy. It's essentially a poison designed to kill the fastest dividing cells in the body. And since cancer cells are famous for dividing uncontrollably, chemo is really effective against them. The problem? It's kind of a blunt instrument. It also harms our healthy cells that divide quickly, like the ones that make our hair, line our stomachs, and, most importantly, the stem cells in our bone marrow that produce our entire blood supply.
So this leads to a really critical question. After chemotherapy has basically wiped the slate clean, getting rid of both the bad cells and a lot of the good ones, how do we rebuild the body's most essential systems, like our blood?
And sometimes
Almost miraculously, the answer comes from a complete stranger. And this is where we get to meet Chirag, a young boy with a blood disorder, and Roman, a precision mechanic and kickboxer from Germany who, a year earlier, had done something as simple as a cheek swab to join a donor registry.
Roman stem cells were 1 in 100,000 perfect match for Chirag. He donated them, and it saved Chirag's life. After he recovered, Chirag wrote a letter to the man he'd never met, an ocean away, calling him his brother and a hero. A total stranger became his lifeline.
That story is it's such a powerful reminder of hope and modern medicine. But maybe the most powerful story is the one that we can actually write for ourselves. So let's talk about prevention. Okay, this might be the single most important slide we look at all day. According to the American Cancer Society, a staggering 42% of cancer cases are considered preventable. Just let that sink in. Nearly half of all cases are linked to things that are actually within our power to control. That's not a small number. That is a massive opportunity. So what are these things we can control? Well, the main culprits are probably pretty familiar. Smoking alone is linked to 19% of all cancer cases. After that comes excess body weight, drinking alcohol, poor diet and inactivity, and of course, UV radiation from the sun. You add them all up, and that's where you get that huge 42% of preventable cases. And that brings us to the really actionable stuff. The path to lowering your risk is pretty clear. It starts with avoiding tobacco and cutting back on alcohol. It continues with maintaining a healthy weight, which you can do with a healthy diet and by staying active. And finally, protecting your skin from the sun. These are the big ones. So we kind of come full circle, back to where we started. Cancer is a story, and it's written in our cells. And while no, we can't control our genes or stop the clock on aging, we have enormous influence over that lifestyle chapter. Every single choice we make, day in and day out, contributes to our body's story. So the question really is, what kind of story are you going to write?